The house that spoke. It started with the walls of a life I had been living inside. A soft sound, like a sigh or a warning. It could have been the wind, but some part of me knew this wasn't the weather. This was something deeper, something old, something true. The cracks formed like old veins along the edges of the inner room. Dust shifted in corners I had stopped noticing, and in that stillness it became clear. The life I'd been holding together was doing what many lives do, carrying too much silence for far too long, until it began to rot beneath its own weight. People try to scrub away the ache, to let the fresh air through the old habits. But you can't purify a life built on denial. You can't perfume a wound. They called it stability. They called it a good life. But beneath the surface, shadows were blooming in the places I refused to look. Because what grows in the dark is always connected to what we refuse to face. From the outside, everything appeared intact. But inside, the fractures had already begun. And the one living within that life kept hoping tenderness, effort, devotion might heal what unspoken truths had already claimed. But love isn't bleach. It doesn't remove the sickness, it reveals it. Every spoken feeling became a confession. Every ignored signal, a mirror, and slowly I understood. Inner neglect shows up in the environments we tolerate. What I was living inside was not just a life out of balance, it was a reflection of everything I had been taught to endure. The truth was simple and devastating. A sick space mirrors a sick soul. And mine had been whispering for a long time. One night, in the quiet center of myself, something flickered. Not fear, not memory, but clarity. As if the inner world had chosen its moment to finally speak. The voice rose from the places I had kept sealed for years. It said, "You are not imagining this. You are not too much. You are the pulse that keeps this life alive." And for the first time, I believed it. The next morning, I opened every door, not to escape, but to let breath return to the rooms inside me that had gone without air. And for the first time, my life breathed with me, because sometimes the first act of leaving is simply letting the truth breathe. Letter to my daughters. My loves, there will come a time when something inside you feels heavy, a thought that sits wrong on your skin, a silence that sharpens instead of softens, an inner room that no longer feels like home. When that moment arrives, listen. Truth has a sound. Sometimes it's a crack in the facade. Sometimes it's your own heartbeat whispering, "This isn't peace." If your inner walls begin to speak, don't quiet them. Don't explain them away. They are mirrors showing you where your soul has gone unheard. There are inner houses that dim your light, shrink your breath, ask you to fold yourself so they can stay standing. But love does not ask you to breathe in poison. Love opens windows. If you ever find yourself in a life that feels wrong, don't wait for collapse. Step into the light. Let the air move through you. You are not the walls. You are the life inside them. And if you listen closely, you'll feel the wind reminding you, "Open the door, Mama." The house was never haunted. It was honest. It whispered the truths many refused to hear. That silence is not safety, and pretending is not peace. Sometimes the inner world cracks so the soul can rebuild itself. And when the window finally opened, what entered wasn't escape, it was awakening. Next time, on Expect Nothing, the quiet begins to glow, and the silence was never golden. Until then, remember, even in the dark, the truth is still whispering, and it's always calling you home. Waning Crescent, the last light listens. Begin again. Breathe deeper. Let the truth grow quietly. Glow anyway.